I grew up in a very religious household, lots of music. Mom and Dad were very instrumental in the music department in our church growing up, and that's kind of, I guess, where I got it from. You know, they passed that down to me, and I started singing before I could. I have an 8-track actually of me singing. Wow. For, I don't know if it was the first time, but it must have been one of the first times, because you can barely pick out what I'm saying. I'm so young, grew
up in a musical. I love that. And so you grew up with music around you. And did you perform at the church and in front of audiences, or was it just at home for your?
No, it was in church.
So right from the beginning, you were a performer.
I remember people telling me that when I was born, Mom, Dad brought me home, I'd be in a bassinet under the piano, like in choir practice. If I was asleep, I'd be in a bassinet under the piano, and when I woke, I was passed around in the choir.
Amazing.
Right? So, like, there was no escaping it, really.
You literally grew up in a world of music. I love that. So you knew right away this is something you loved to do right from the beginning.
Yeah, like there was really no way around it for me. Like, I've tried, multiple times to stop doing music. I'm like, okay, I'm going to smarten up down, right? Because you grow up in a small town, and they're like, well, what are you going to do for a living?
Right.
Right? And if you say, I'm going to be a musician, well, how do you make money? That's just, that's just silly. There was no such thing as the internet and social media and all that kind of stuff then. Nashville was like, may as well be outer space,
right. Right.
So, for me, my career, saying that I was going to be a musician, the first thing people would think of is, well, she's going to be a music teacher, right?
Of course.
But I wanted to be a performer. I was a performer. That's what I did. So, figuring that out and where I wanted to go. First, I was working at a lumber mill and worked at the pharmacy in Roddickton, just little jobs like that, because when I graduated high school, I couldn't figure out, what did I want to do? Where do I go? You don't want to go to Mon, because I don't want to be a teacher, right? So my mother worked at the post office, and thanks to a local college in North Atlantic rep, I guess you would call him, in the towns, Joan Kindon, brought over the new semester book with all the programs in it, and had everything underlined. Karla needs to do this. This is made for Karla. And it was the music industry and performance program that had just started. Cool. So it was going into its second year. And so I applied to that. And then I headed to Stephenville, and then from there I just got introduced to the world of musical theater, did a bunch of stuff with that. I ended up staying in Stephenville and working with the Stephenville Theater Festival. I didn't even go home for the summer break. So I got involved in all of that, and
So those were some of your very first gigs, were there in Stephenville doing music theater, kind of?
Yeah, music theater, and there was a youth theater group, and they needed a musical director. And my instructor, Wade Pinhorn, he really, really put me on the path of a lot of, in the beginning, put me on the path of a lot of experiences that I wouldn't have had otherwise.